This is one of the most groundbreaking world records in the history of Minecraft speedrunning. It's a 3-minute 59-second run in the pre-1.9 set seed glitchless peaceful category that beat the former record by 47 seconds and stood at first place for 643 days. It's also fake, but before I get into that, let's take a closer look at the runner. NicoCraft HD had no prior runs at the time of the world record, and when he achieved it, he submitted it to the Speedrun.com leaderboards, where it was promptly verified. Nowadays, the run has over 11 million views on YouTube, not only making it one of the most viewed Minecraft speedruns ever, but being the run that introduced countless people to the community. After posting the video, Nico would remain somewhat active on his channel, uploading every so often, but it wouldn't be until March 25th, 2022 when he would share his next run on a new, much faster seed that had been recently discovered. After loading into the world, he made his way to a desert temple where chest loot, blocks, and TNT were acquired. Upon exiting the temple, TNT was used to cross the river. Remember this detail because it'll be relevant soon. After trading with villagers, he got an Eye of Ender, dug down to the stronghold, and entered the end almost 2.5 seconds ahead of his personal best. Before I proceed, you need to know that the end is incredibly RNG dependent in version 1.8. For starters, the dragon won't always charge fast enough to be killed quickly. Additionally, the placement of the obsidian pillars and the height of the towers is completely randomized, regardless of the seed. A good run requires short towers in close proximity to each other, so when Nico loaded into this end, his mind must have been racing. At the first tower, the dragon almost immediately charged, where a large amount of damage was dealt with the end crystal. Then, a mere 12 seconds later, the dragon charged again. Upon reaching the third one, what do you know, it's hungry for more, but its path was just enough to the side in order to avoid a fatality. Fortunately, this end layout was incredibly forgiving. 2 minutes and 49 seconds, a new world record that was later verified to the leaderboards. But hold up, where's the TNT? He placed it down when crossing the river, but it appears to have magically disappeared after the run was completed. It's a detail so subtle that for over a year, nobody noticed it. That is, until Elliot X came into the picture. He's a pre-1.9 runner who you may recognize for having the luckiest Minecraft speedrun ever. But when he discovered this discrepancy, he didn't stop there. Notice how at the beginning of the run, there's a cloud that's shaped like a pea. If you load into this seed, you will not see this cloud. Rather, you'll always see an F-shaped cloud, the exact same one that appears at the end of the run. In order to find the P cloud, you'd need to wait over 25 minutes before it shows up over the temple. So, with disappearing TNT and clouds that suggest he was in the world for way more than 3 minutes, only one conclusion can be drawn: the run was spliced. Unfortunately, however, in his 359 that has 11 million views, the audio is completely disabled and there's no footage after the credits, which meant that there was no way to prove the presence of a splice. Well, for years that was the case, until Crafter Dark noticed the tiniest little discrepancy hiding in plain sight for anyone to see. In the beginning of the run, Nico made his way to a desert temple, and after he jumped to the bottom, did you see it? The hunger bar moved up and down, in peaceful mode. This is actually completely normal. You can't lose hunger in peaceful, but you can lose saturation, which is the effect that determines how fast the hunger bar depletes. When the saturation level goes below a certain point, the hunger bar starts displaying these up and down movements, which happen precisely every 3.05 seconds. The only way to increase saturation in peaceful mode is by eating a golden apple, since other food can't be consumed unless the hunger level goes down. As he progressed through the run, the bar kept ticking at a consistent rate, and eventually he made his way to the stronghold. Upon end entry, he was an incredible 13.6 seconds ahead of his personal best. After he dug out of the hole and pillared up to a short tower, the dragon charged immediately. Right next to him was another short tower, and of course, he got the instant charge again. But hold on, did you see it? The hunger bar had an up and down movement for the first time during that entire end fight. Seriously, I'm gonna go back and I want you to watch it really carefully. There are no ticks. His saturation couldn't have possibly been restored without eating a golden apple, but the hunger bar is displaying full saturation for the first 34 seconds of the end fight. After that first tick, however, it kept ticking at a constant rate until the end of the run, which, by the way, just so happened to be the fastest end fight ever. If we look at his other, less viewed world record, the same thing is present. The hunger bar ticks at a constant rate until he reaches the end, where it stops for the next 23 seconds. Let's take a look at a run from Spoon Tai, who held the world record prior to Nico's 3:59. The first hunger bar tick took place 22 seconds into the run, and from there until the end of the run, it never stopped ticking. Same here in this run by Illumina, and in the current world record by Poisonous Skelly. For whatever reason, however, Nico is the exception. So why is that the case? Well, a splice would make the most sense. If he's loading into the world starting at the end portal, his saturation would be reset to how it was at the start of the run, which explains the lack of hunger bar movement. But for argument's sake, let's assume the best of intentions from NicoCraft. Maybe there was just a random event that led to this discrepancy. When saturation is depleted, every 3.05 seconds, each of the 10 food pieces has 3 possibilities determined by RNG. They can either go up, down, or stay still, with equal odds for all of them. So, given that 34 seconds passed before there's any visible hunger bar tick, that would come out to 10 cycles in a row where every food piece chose the 1 out of 3 possibility to stay still. That comes out to a probability along the lines of 1 in a duotrigantillion, which is a number that you probably haven't even heard of unless you played Adventure Capitalist. As for the other run, the odds jump to a relatively unlucky 1 in 390 decillion. For some perspective, the chance of getting a 12-eye end portal is 1 in a trillion, which is many orders of magnitude more likely to occur randomly. The only other reasonable possibility is that an unknown modification was used that changed the mechanics of the hunger bar. Only problem is that in order for that to be possible, Nico would need to be using Forge with Optifine, and as seen from the main menu, that wasn't the case. So that leaves us with one realistic conclusion: both of the world records were cheated.